so we're going to be sharing the graduate perspectives on entering the mining industry, and we're part of the Oxford SEG student chapter. So slight change. Just a quick introduction before we get started. We're all fourth year Earth Science students at the University of Oxford, and we're really passionate about economic geology, with a range of ambitions, including mining, exploration geology, academia, and sustainability. And just a quick caveat before we get started, we are trying to represent the student population, but obviously everyone's experiences are different. So we're trying our best. And now an introduction into the topic. Certainty is often considered necessary in order to succeed at the start of your career, but this industry is faced with so many uncertainties, which could actually be a blessing in disguise. So each of us has kind of picked a main topic of uncertainty we think is affecting our generation. So Emily will be starting off with AI and how that changes our view on entering the job market. Then Ella will be carrying on with climate change and the future of studying earth science. Tom will be talking about the mining industry and how the volatility can impact the way we enter the industry. And finally, I'll be talking about the job market as a whole and how and our experiences with that.
So generative AI is increasingly entering every aspect of our lives, whether that's through social media, education, art, or job seeking. We're in an evolutionary arms race with AI and each other. And AI policies vary between individual companies. Some encourage it and others discourage it. And there's a trade-off between timing and quality of work or tasks, which AI exploits, kind of like its evolutionary niche, in my opinion. And as students, we face the consequences of an AI-heavy education or this mismatch between encouragement and discouragement through the aforementioned exposure, which will only increase, in my opinion, with the newer generations that come. And we risk missing building the valuable skills that require patience and originality through overusing AI. It's only through building those skills that we can use AI effectively, if at all needed. So I believe that what the youth must navigate is resistance to instant gratification, while also meeting increasing pressing social and economic demands. Using AI without those building blocks of education is destined to create a future of shallow efforts or systematic errors with black boxes. That is what we really want to avoid. And so I think that creating certainty in our futures relies on constant consciousness and intentionality in our lives, which the overuse of AI may even force through a tipping point. So in summary, building quality skills must be encouraged and available for students alongside or other than the use of AI.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about how climate change can create uncertainty for students considering careers in the mining industry. I think because climate change affects both the stability, the purpose, and the future direction of the sector. So particularly for the young generation, the future can feel quite unpredictable. The younger generation have to deal with the long-term consequences of climate change, and rather than treating it like a distant issue, which it can be viewed as today. So for the mining industry, climate change uncertainty is particularly relevant as the industry is both linked to the causes of climate change and yet also the solution for the energy transition. We know mining is essential to supply critical minerals needed for renewable energy systems, batteries and electric vehicles, yet the industry is so associated with environmental damage and carbon emissions and poor practices. And I feel like this mismatch is where uncertainty is created, as mining is often only discussed, especially in the news, where problems occur. And I think media coverage really reinforces this. We see stories about pollution incidents, land degradation, and even human health issues, and far less attention is given to responsible mining and the industry's role in enabling clean technologies. I think uncertainty is also created as we see a lack of progress with climate policies and targets. For instance, the UK has ambitious targets, such as the Climate Change Act, but I feel like there's a gap between the targets and actually having a deliverable plan to get there. And this is why we're seeing businesses withdrawing from renewable energy investment or extending fossil fuel phase out. And this creates uncertainty for students like myself who are really trying to navigate a career in the sustainability sector. And yet, despite this uncertainty, I do think the future of studying my degree is promising. Studying earth sciences has provided me with the scientific knowledge to understand earth systems and manage climate challenges. My perspective has really changed with regards to learning more about economic geology throughout my time at university. I, as a student, was initially strongly against even joining Oxford SEG initially due to the mining's inherently extractive and destructive reputation. I'm very passionate about the environment we live in, and I do get upset when I see like damage that human activity has caused. However, since joining, I have come to realize that we do need mining to supply the minerals we require to mitigate against climate change. And we just need to mine in the most responsible way possible, minimizing biodiversity loss, pollution, and prioritizing community engagement, which I also believe is essential for an overall success of a mine. The talks held by the SEG and my chosen degree modules have allowed me to educate myself on how the sector can reduce impacts and operate more responsibly. And this has hence led me to want to pursue a career in sustainability. So linking back to the topic, creating certainty in a world of change requires people to be open-mindedness and willing to change their own assumptions in order to find practical solutions. And personally, by changing my own perspective, I've learned that creating certainty in a time where the mining industry is advancing is not about rejecting these industries outright, but being part of their transformation and using my scientific evidence and innovation to drive responsible decision-making.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about volatility in the mining industry specifically, and how me and my course mates will be affected by this as we come up to our graduation. This volatility is often related to boom-bust economic cycles and a range of geopolitical factors, so things like trade tensions and policy shifts. I think it's safe to say mining is up there with one of the most volatile industries. As people will know, boom-bust cycles directly impact the number of job opportunities, which can make career planning feel unstable. A safe career path today may be oversaturated or shrinking by the time students graduate. This can impact the kind of jobs we will consider, with some being inherently more volatile. For example, I'm aiming to be an exploration geologist. One of the things I could specialize in is lithium pegmatites. Lithium demand spiked, as you can see from this graph, in 2021 to 22 due to a rapid growth in the electric vehicles industry, leading to a huge demand for lithium-focused professionals, exploration geologists, resource modelers, mining engineers specializing in lithium pegmatites and brines. By 2023 to 24, supply had increased dramatically, lowering prices. Exploration budgets were cut, junior companies struggled for funding, and hiring slowed. Those who had specialized in lithium suddenly found fewer job opportunities. As an example, the project at British Lithium in Cornwall being put on hold recently. It's not to say that lithium won't bounce back, but I think it gives a picture of the uncertainties we face as students. As a student, I think it's therefore about seizing the moment to go and get experiences while there are job opportunities, as you never really know when the next crash is around the corner. As students, we have very little power, but the one thing I think we do benefit from is having slightly more adaptability at this stage of our life, and potentially being slightly more open-minded as to what career path we'll end up on. Being adaptable isn't necessarily a skill you would associate with a particular job, but can be a skill you need to develop to survive in a constantly shifting industry.
So some of you may have heard that the job market in its current state is not the most ideal, and this is increasingly becoming a source of uncertainty for our generation. Whilst the narrative of stability and certainty equaling success has been pushed, this may not always be the case. Certainty in the current job market could actually be a limiting factor to ambition. Where there are less jobs, students are becoming increasingly more inclined to settle and discard ambition, passion, and their degrees of specialism. For example, the phrase coined the Bermuda Triangle of talent, where top graduates are opting for more stable jobs in consultancy, finance, and law over their degree specialisms. But I think students should be encouraged to be passionate and make the most of all the networking opportunities, even when the industry is stable and you have a job. It's about being prepared for having to work much harder during the crashes to create opportunities for ourselves. This is particularly true in the mining industry, as Tom has mentioned, where international opportunities often outweigh others, especially in fields of geology. So whilst this is not something that can be mitigated against, it's important to note the impact and how it can seem less appealing to many students seeking certainty. So maybe the narrative should change on how we view stable jobs after graduation. Maybe students should be more encouraged and supported to pursue their passions and specialisms over seeking stability. You can help us do this by being receptive to students creating their own opportunities and be more willing to host and stop for a quick chat. Just being reassured that stability can be achieved through initial bouts of uncertainty can help us grow.
So on the back of that, just to conclude, how can the industry help students embrace these uncertainties? So mining companies can create certainty for young people by showing that the industry has a clear, responsible and future-focused direction. Us as young people really want our careers to be stable and purposeful, and this needs to be shown through action. So you can do this by investing in us through internships, graduate schemes and apprenticeships. And this will give us as students the confidence that the industry offers long-term opportunities and really wants to support us. The industry needs to go into conversations with students with an open mind, value our opinions and recognise that the new skills and adaptability we bring. If mining wants to engage with students, it needs to show not only that it is changing, but that it is willing to evolve with the future generation in mind. Thank you for listening to our presentation. This is our LinkedIn if you want to hear more about the society and see what we've been up to. But yeah, thank you. And we open the floor to questions, I guess.
Amazing. Fantastic. Thank you so, so much to all of you. That was truly brilliant. I'm just going to remove the spotlight so that you can see all of us. And we'll leave your QR code up there for a little bit longer. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat. Aileen, I'm just going to remove those spotlights for a second. Please put questions into the chat or into the Q&A, or if you're on YouTube, feel free to post something into the comments there. But firstly, I guess a question from me. So I'm incredibly lucky in that I get to employ people, which is fantastic. But one of the questions I often have is what really motivates somebody? So what kind of organization would you like to work in? Are you motivated by money? Are you motivated by being given credit for lots of your work? Are you motivated by working in a really responsible organization? Obviously, ideally, it would be all of the above, but what motivates you? What kind of organization do you want to work with?
I think, yeah, as you said, I think all of the above. I mean, they're all factors, and each student will have a different weighting on each factor depending on who they are and what kind of things they value the most. I think it is definitely about passion for me, and I think a lot of people I've spoken to, because if you're passionate about whatever you start with, you'll grow and all those other things will come. So you'll, I don't know, make more money or become more successful, but it starts with the passion. And something I want to see is going into a job, I want them to support me thinking, oh, let me try this, or what about this idea, and value my opinion. And I think that also comes with the idea of responsibility and sustainability.
Yeah, I think a company who really invests in younger people and is willing to teach them and train them up, and not necessarily just go for, someone who's a few years down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like a company that like sees potential in you. I think for me, quite a few like the students here want to go into exploration geology. For me, I really want to go into like sustainability consultancy, and it just comes from like my childhood of appreciation for the environment and things. But I definitely know I want to go into a company that makes a purposeful impact, whether that's like working for a team towards like a common goal, just something that is meaningful and has a good impact and makes like me feel like I've done something good for the planet. That's like my main aim. Yeah.
We're all earth scientists, so kind of our perspective in this industry is a little bit shaped by what we've done in university. And we've almost all, since geology isn't an A-level everywhere, we've all had to kind of figure out, why do I like this subject? Or what makes me feel passionate about it? What am I passionate about in this subject? And so through that, we've been on a lot of field trips, and most people in our year, I'd say, really just enjoy the aspect of being outside, learning in the field, going to different places. I think that's something that's very attractive to us. But of course, everybody wants a job where they're valued, where they're encouraged. I think something that nurtures your interest is really what I would look for. I don't mind if the skills are not as, maybe a bit monotonous to begin with for a first job, but as long as someone is there nurturing your interest, I think that's really what I'm, most interested in.
Love it. No, thank you very much to all of you. And as you quite rightly call out, you've all been studying the same topic at the same university. So if anybody knows of any other students out there from around the world studying not just geoscience, because we realise there are other subjects to study, please do feel free to share your input or get everybody involved in this discussion. Now, there are lots of questions that are now coming in the chat, and I'll just select a couple of them. So the first one I'd like to pose to you comes from Libby. And Libby says, excellent presentation. Thank you. As you represent the SEG student chapter, how do you see the society leaning into these uncertainties? Thanks, Libby.
Shall I go on? Yeah, go on. I'm not sure if this is exactly what you're looking for, Libby, but I think that something that I've been really interested in being part of committee of this society is managing we've had to manage a lot of uncertainty through our field trip or speaker events, things like this. We don't really know where the next speaker is going to come from or exactly where we're going to go. And I think it's made us become very adaptable. Hopefully I'm answering your question exactly. But we've had to, reach out to people, and some people will reach back and some won't. It's kind of forced us to be adaptable and just go for it, really.
I think it kind of links back to what I was saying as well, how sometimes certainty can limit ambition, because this uncertainty of, is this person going to reply to us? Are we going to actually manage to get a speakers day? Has forced us to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and try and reach out to different types of people and change the way we would normally go about things. So it's actually helped us improve and diversify the kind of events we do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely opened opportunities, from cases like our speakers, we've had a full variety from across industry, academia, from all kind of aspects of geoscience. And it's really opened kind of our minds to what's out there. Yeah.
Great, thank you for that. Libby, I'm sure that there will be ongoing conversations, because I know that you have a little bit to do with SEG, which is great. The next question I'm going to pose to you comes from Lucy Crane, who once upon a time sat in your seats, as in she also studied geoscience at Oxford. So you might remember Lucy or have met her at various different events. And Lucy asks, Earth scientists are arguably more comfortable with uncertainty than most other people. Why did you go into earth sciences in the first place? And was it what you expected?
I'm not going to lie. I think most people I've spoken to as well say we just go into earth science for the field trips and being outdoors and going on cool holidays or holidays where you look at rocks. It's
definitely the best part of the subject.
Yeah. But then since then, it's been everything else around it. I feel the whole geoscience community is quite welcoming, and it just feels like there's so much opportunity in there, and there's so many, especially to travel and go places. That was definitely a big part of it.
We are very interdisciplinary people, really. I mean, our first year course is physics, biology, chemistry. We do maths. I think for me, part of it was that I didn't really want to specify exactly what I wanted to go into. I just really like natural systems and not as much the human geography. Sorry, humans, but I think we are quite interdisciplinary, interested in a lot of things. So
yeah,
I would agree with that.
Fantastic. Thank you for that one. Two more questions. And I guess the first one comes from Susie, who also has a geoscience background. If it's the same Susie that I'm thinking of, maybe it's a different one. And Susie says, great presentation and fantastic insights, very aligned with the messages we try to explain to young people through Minerals Matter. What is the main interest you have in mining, and why have you chosen this route so far?
Between the four of us, we have quite a range of interests. So Tom and I want to go into exploration or mining geology. Ella's more on the sustainability side, and Emily's looking at academia. So I mean, it goes to show that we've all done the same degree, but we have such different perspectives on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a why do I want to go into exploration geology? I do I enjoy kind of the problem solving aspect of geology, and I enjoy like the fact that it feels very real, like you're having a proper impact on society. It almost feels like mining is kind of the backbone of society. Like without it, like what else can anyone do? Uh, so yeah, and I just I like that. Yeah.
There you go. There's the clickbait right there, Tom. That's it. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, have you experienced other thoughts and feelings and perceptions from other students at university who think that mining is awful?
Yeah, certainly.
There's definitely people against joining SEG.
For sure.
I mean, as I said in my presentation, I was really initially against it. With someone who obviously I kind of did earth science more for like the environmental, climate, oceanography side of it. And then wasn't really hugely interested in geology, and was actually surprised how much I enjoyed geology. But yeah, there's definitely people that are
I think
very against it.
It often comes like the younger students. So we're all fourth years. We've kind
Yeah.
of been through this evolution. But the first and second years are
Seem
often
a bit skeptical.
the most skeptical, and they're the ones coming up to me in department being like, oh, I don't know, or I'm not sure about that email. But I think being able to reach out to them and explain it to them in a way that it resonates is helpful.
Yeah, it's just useful to think of it as a possible career path, which hasn't really been as advertised to us, you know, like I kind of agree with Tom that viewing it as like a problem solving aspect of geology has been really interesting, and also just another branch of geology. We learn about, you know, sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous, but I feel like I don't know, I feel like the mining rocks and everything, some of the rocks I've never seen anything like that before. So yeah.
I love it. It's all down to the beauty of the rock, speaking as people who are true earth scientists. I think just playing devil's advocate. So you describe that perhaps a lot of the younger students or the earlier students in earlier years are more skeptical. Do you think we're brainwashing you to make you like the sector?
I really don't think so, because I think I still have I have a perspective that's skeptical still. Like I'll go into, I don't know, a talk that a company's giving, and I'll be aware that it could be greenwashing, and I'll try and pick out those I'll try and see the flaws. So it's more critical rather than just believe everything. But I think the skepticism of the second years is from the idea of greenwashing. So it's all well and good saying all these buzzwords, sustainability buzzwords, but I think it's when the action comes is where you'll get the students actually flowing into the mining industry. So we need evidence. It's still critical, I think.
Yeah, I think it's brainwashing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because it would have to be a lot more in our face for that, you know. We've really just kind of tried to grow this society. Without it, I probably wouldn't know much at all about mining. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, massive congratulations on what you've been building, and good luck with everything that's coming next, be it in the world of exploration, mining, other forms of academia, etc. Good luck with that. And I think you've got lots of people here online at the moment who are more than happy to have that chat with you. So with that, everybody, please put your hands together for the wonderful Ria, Tom, Emily, and Ella. Thank you very much, everyone. That was absolutely brilliant. Fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
thanks.